Hi, this is Joe Gugliardi, and this is my Lab 4 automod lesson. So I have in a Word document here just some snips from what I did with an automod. You can find this attached in my submitted file. However, I want to just go through kind of what I did for each one briefly, straight from the book. So the first one was just changing some code within the automod software. And this is where we declared a new process, the process of sorting, and gave it a time based on a distribution for how that would work. And you run the model for 8 hours. So just to show you how to do that within automod, you go into here to your processes, you go to source files, you go to logic, and that is where you can edit your code in here. Also, to edit the amount of time the simulation runs, you go to run control, edit, and you can edit the snap length or the number of hours that your system will run. So that was the main adjustments for 4.1. 4.2 was similar. Like I said, this is the file I have open currently was for 4.2, and that is where I edited the code so that it would print when I ran the simulation. It would print both when the load arrived in the system, and then also print when the load departed from the system. So then when you run the system, which I will do real quick, you have to close the code first. You go to run model, you want to build it, and then you control continue. And as you can see down here, you'll see loads both arriving and departing at different times based on how I coded the system. So we'll pause that for a second, jump back here. 4.3 was some additional code that I had to make. As you can see, what that did was print when you run the model, it would print when the loads left at different times. So this one would be to 3 decimal points in hours, this was to 1 decimal point in seconds, and this one was just the absolute clock that the model uses. So for 4.4 and 4.5 were a little different. 4.4 is where we actually had to declare 3 different loads simultaneously entering into the system, and that is done. Let me close this. That is done here, loads, and then based on this you can add new loads, and when you edit these loads, see I made this an exponential 10-minute. Right here you can adjust the mean, you can adjust the distribution, you can choose seconds or whatever, and you always want to make sure you're adding that first process to wherever where this load is starting in the system. So I had to do that for 3 different loads for the 4.4 and run the simulation, like I said, in run control, change that to 1,000 hours. And for 4.5, rather than having multiple loads, we just had multiple processes that a singular load would go through. And this can all be done in code, coding it based on the distributions provided, running the model for 100 days. The load must pass through each of these processes before it is sent to die. So, like I said, I have all the snips for that here. The questions were what were the average number of loads in the process, as you can see here. This question was what was the maximum number of loads in the sorting operation at one time. You can see that would be 9 loads. So yeah, that was my Lab 4. I completed an automod. I learned a lot. Thank you for watching.